Everything I've learned about Euphoria has been against my will. Hello and welcome back to the Miscellaneous channel where we do miscellaneous things. I'm Zeleny. I typically cover TV, pop culture, internet trends, and other miscellaneous things on this channel, so subscribe if that's your vibe. So I'm sure at this point you've heard about the super mega popular show Euphoria on HBO Max. Season 2 just finished up and I did not watch it. Trust me, after you see this video, you're gonna be like, Zeleny, if you're so obsessed with Euphoria, just watch the damn show. My answer to that is I'm baby. I don't know. I can't. I'm kind of scared of a show like Euphoria. I don't like media that is really graphic and heavy. That's what gets me about why it's so popular. How are so many people watching such a traumatizing show every Sunday? Just like, it's the thing to watch. I felt the same way about Game of Thrones though, and it's kind of odd to me that everyone watches something that is so dark, and I don't just mean the lighting, even though HBO is notorious for that. And honestly, my stomach metaphorically can't handle watching something so heavy and intense. So since I've never watched an episode of Euphoria, I really have no business recapping it, but I noticed, especially season 2 of Euphoria, season 1 was not quite like this that I remember. Season 2 had so much social media chatter about it, to the point where I knew every character, I knew all the plot lines, which episode's gonna get an Emmy. I felt like I knew everything about Euphoria. Around episode 3, I started taking notes. Anytime a Euphoria fact about season 2 came on my newsfeed, to see if I could actually accurately recap the season without having to have seen any single episode. This is an experiment. If you have watched Euphoria, then this is the perfect time to, at the end of this video, grade me about how much of the season 2 plotline did I recap correctly, and the things that I got wrong. Everything I'm getting from social media is in pieces and usually out of context, so there are bound to be some inaccuracies in these. And if you haven't seen Euphoria, you can still watch this video and pretend like this is a real recap. There will be spoilers. I do have a substantial amount of information, and I am not lying to you when I say I am taking this seriously. It sounds like I'm doing a little joke experiment to be hilarious or something, but I took this assignment extremely seriously, and I am actually going to try to get it right. I'm not just trying to make stuff out of the blue. I am using educated guessing and scientific method. Not really, but I am being very methodical about this. I took very extensive notes, and I think I have a pretty clear picture of what happened in season 2. Of course, I have some questions. I might ask some questions out loud as I go. Euphoria fans can answer me in the comments. There are definitely a few holes in my recap, but for the most part, I think I have it down. And also, I want to give a little disclaimer that, like I said, the themes of Euphoria are very heavy and mostly involve drug addiction and teens having a lot of sex, I guess. I'm going to sort of be saying these things in a light tone, only because they are fictional characters and I didn't even watch the show, so it's hard for me to know exactly what's going on. I'm gonna put timestamps down below if you want to skip around the video to different sections. And I'm gonna start with my usual question: is Euphoria worth watching? Obviously, I don't know. Probably everyone's freaking watched it but me. And yes, I do have FOMO. I mean, I assume it's worth watching. There just, to me, seems to be a little bit of a disconnect between how people talk about it, like so lightly, like as if it's Riverdale or Degrassi or Pretty Little Liars, these shows that are more soapy. But at the same time, it touches on very real and intense issues of drug addiction, and it just has the characters going through a lot. I mean, there's also like death in it and drug dealer danger. I think it's worth watching if you like dramas, I assume. But obviously I can't answer this question. I need to stop pretending like I can answer this question. So let's talk a little bit about the background of Euphoria, which I looked up. I made sure to avoid any plot summaries of episodes. I have not watched even season 1. Season 1 of Euphoria came out in 2019 and season 2 came out in early 2022. 2. Season 2 was supposed to come out earlier, but the first table read for season 2 happened on March 11th of 2020. Simpler times. So production of season 2 got delayed due to COVID. Something I didn't know about Euphoria is that it is an adaptation of an Israeli TV show of the same name. This is the description for the original Euphoria. The series follows a group of 17-year-olds who spend their time carelessly having sex and taking drugs, with seemingly no parental authority. Adults appeared in the series only rarely and were always filmed at an angle that did not show their faces. So there goes the question of where are the adults in these teens' lives? Season 2 did have a fair amount of adults in it, not as many as teens, but it seems like the parental authorities are more present in season 2 and they don't like hide them with lighting and stuff, but at the same time these kids are running around doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So the parental authority seems to be very background for this show. So the American Euphoria came out in 2019 and was written by Sam Levinson, who is actually a nepotism director, and he's the son of an Academy Award-winning director. Barry Levinson is his name. So Sam Levinson, the creator of Euphoria, has been in a lot of hot water as season 2 has premiered because he has some questionable practices on set, and also the amount of sex in Euphoria has been heavily criticized as like being gratuitous and voyeuristic and just too much. Like it doesn't add anything to the plot or the show. And some of the actresses spoke out about this. Specifically, Sydney Sweeney talked about how she pushed back on a couple of scenes where she was written to be topless, I guess. She was trying to say that Sam is a good director and that he listened to her pushing back. People kind of held on more to her saying there was like even more topless scenes and that like it is too much. I am on the side of like, why is this guy writing so many naked girls everywhere? Even though the actors are of age, they are depicting minor characters, so it's like, it's such a weird thing. And part of what makes me feel icky and why I struggle with teen drama sometimes, because they are so sexualized and it's so like glamorized. Sam Levinson has also been criticized for his style as a director and creator. Honestly, I kind of would live for a behind the scenes adaptation of making a show like this, like a show about a show. It sounds like Sam Levinson, he doesn't make a shot list for each episode, which means he doesn't have like planned what scenes he's gonna film in a day and how it's gonna be filmed and stuff, and he kind of likes to improv it, and that leads to like 14 plus hour days for the cast and crew, which a few of the cast members have called out, specifically Barbie Ferreira. She called it out, and it kind of seems like Sam Levinson retaliated by cutting a lot of her scenes this season. A little fun fact about season 2 was that it was shot on film, which apparently season 1 was not, but they wanted to add a vintage memory aura to season 2, and they made that decision. And Euphoria has been renewed for season 3, which was announced to be coming out in 2024. All right, let's get into our episode recaps. I think it's time to bring out my my prop. I might move the board around throughout, but I have this board that I made to help me figure out Euphoria Season 2. I know y'all love your little posters with all the little lines, like that Mikey Mike guy that got like 5 million views for a Pretty Little Liars one. But I realized making this that I suck at placing things in a cute and sensical way, and it just ended up being a huge mess. But regardless, I'm gonna move it down. There's more board that way. You might not be able to see it very clearly because of the camera, but I'll put images of who I'm talking about as well. Every piece of information that I'm going to be talking about here came across my social media feeds organically. It was mostly through my Twitter timeline, but also a little bit of Instagram and TikTok. Though I did interact with these tweets because I was saving them in order to make this video, so the algorithm did think in some sense that I was interested in Euphoria content, so that's something to keep in mind as like a variable in the experiment. Quick rundown of the characters. Our main character is Rue, played by Zendaya. Rue is a struggling drug addict. She is more grungy in style, and I think she is queer. She was in a relationship with Jules. They're girlfriends, though they have a very rough journey in season 2. There's also a love triangle with them and Elliot. Elliot has some sort of sexual relationship with Rue and a romantic and sexual relationship with Jules as well. The pink or red yarn here represents romantic relationships. White represents friend or drug dealer, and purple represents family. So Rue also has a best friend named Lexi, who played a big role in season 2, I think a lot bigger than season 1. Lexi is intertwined with Fez. They start a romantic relationship in season 2. Fez is Rue's drug dealer, and I think the rest of the characters that do drugs, he's the drug dealer. Lexi has a sister who is older named Cassie. Cassie was a huge part of season 2 and one of the most tweeted about, at least on my social media. She's definitely more of a villainous character. Cassie is our gateway into the popular girls we see on Euphoria, the ones dressed in the hip outfits. Cassie is best friends with Maddie. Maddie is a bad bitch, while Cassie's more of a wannabe a bit. She's in Maddie's shadow and wants to be like Maddie a lot of the time. She's kind of the leader of the whole friend group with Cassie in it. Kat is in it. Some other girl, I don't know her name. Lexi is often there as the little sister. It seems like a lot of stuff happens at Cassie's house a lot of the time. Both Cassie and Maddie this season were intertwined with the infamous Nate Jacobs. I forgot to be saying all the actors' names. So Jules is played by Hunter Schafer. Lexi is played by Maud Apatow, daughter of Leslie Mann and Judd Apatow. Faz is played by Angus Cloud. Cassie is played by Sydney Sweeney, who, by the way, y'all don't even know, I am an OG fan because I saw her on Everything Sucks on Netflix, which I swear I'm the only person that watched that damn show. And it was so cute. It was a 90s show, and it was about a lesbian girl coming to terms with her sexuality, and Sydney Sweeney was a love interest, and it was really cute. But I was a fan ever since, and then she did White Lotus, and now she's the big villain of season 2. Maddie is played by Alexa Demi. Kat is played by Barbie Ferreira. Nate Jacobs is played by Jacob Elordi. Jacob from The Kissing Booth, and he plays a douchey sports leader guy. I put a football there. I think he plays football. Maybe he plays a different sport. He was an on and off boyfriend to Maddie, and in season 2 he starts a sexual relationship with Cassie, causing a big rift in Cassie and Maddie's friendship. We also have Cal here, one of the adults in the show. He is played by Eric Dane. It's wild nowadays, in Euphoria, I know the actors of the adults more than the teens. I remember Eric Dane was in Valentine's Day. He played a football player there. Cal is Nate's dad, and he is gay. He is very violent as well, so I assume there's issues there. Rue's mom shows up here and there, and Rue's little sister shows up. Also, Cassie and Lexi's mom appears a lot in season 2, and she's played by one of the best friends of Elle Woods and Legally Blonde. We also have Ashtray, who I believe is the little brother of Fez, or partner in crime of drugs. He's very young. Episode 1. Crap, where did I leave my phone? I think it's behind the board. God damn it. I had to extract my phone out of there. Episode 1 is called Trying to Get to Heaven Before They Close the Door. These episode titles, man, are they pretentiously long. Episodes 1 and 2 are the ones that are most hazy to me because I wasn't taking extensive notes when they were happening. I just had to go from memory of these rather than as I found them. Episode 1, I know there was a big orgy where over 30 penises were shown. I believe this is shown early in the episode. I feel like it was to weed out people like me that might have accidentally clicked on Euphoria and been like, oh, this seems like a fun teen show. And then it's 30 penises right away. So there was an orgy where Maddie attended as well as the other popular girls. Maddie is the coolest, so she had the coolest outfit. A very popular meme came out of this outfit that Maddie's wearing where she is banging on the door telling Nate that she has to go pee. I have one tweet that referenced that she needed to go pee. If anyone was tweeting bullshit Euphoria stuff, I believed it. She needed to pee, and she was banging on that door. It became a popular meme to say the number 4. This tweet says, what's Beyonce's favorite number? There's also another popular image from this where Maddie is walking down the hall to find the bathroom. She is waiting with some guy, and she's banging on it. So it all makes sense that she is trying to go pee at this orgy. It seems like the next day at school, Cassie shows up looking like Maddie. Presumably, Cassie is trying to be like Maddie in order to attract Nate. The image of them two in the sweatsuits became kind of viral right away because they weren't carrying any book bags and just looked absolutely ridiculous. I feel like that image almost birthed all the trends that were like what regular students look like versus Euphoria students. People like Megan Fox were posting sexy outfits and being like, I'm the principal of Euphoria High. There was a popular TikTok sound. It's a sound from SpongeBob. Someone comes out in regular clothes and Squidward's voice says, now why aren't you in uniform? The person comes back in a Euphoria style outfit and makeup. So episode 1, orgy. That's it. Episode 2 is called Out of Touch. This is probably the episode I have the least information about. The main thing I remember is that Kat was feeling really down this episode and she was kind of telling her friends that, and her friends were giving her a lot of toxic positivity answers. There was this montage where Kat is like hearing a bunch of influencers that are all like skinny and perfect looking to be happier, to be grateful, or whatever. It was a big message about toxic positivity, and I saw a lot of people reacting really well to it because influencers from their mansions are often telling us like, be happy, just it's all about your attitude, when it's like, no girl, it just sucks. So this episode had the most, I think, Kat development and interesting things going on with her character. Maybe it was after this episode that she complained about the long hours and got her scenes cut. Who knows? Episode 2 is a bit of a mystery to me. I assume more develops with Cassie liking Nate and potentially hooking up with him for the first time. It is early in the season when Cassie does start sleeping with Nate because Nate and Maddie are on a break. Despite Maddie often telling her friends that she is thinking of getting back together with Nate. Episode 3 is where things get real because I started taking my notes. Episode 3 is called Ruminations, Big and Little Bullies. At the very end of episode 2, it seems like Rue has relapsed. She was sober in the first couple episodes, and now episode 3, she is doing heroin and fentanyl. People online were concerned that she was going to overdose again. Episode 3 opens with Rue fully back on drugs. This is the Euphoria part of the drug process. Rue is having a great time on the drugs again. She is dancing around the kitchen and she throws a Pop-Tart into the toaster from the wrapper to the toaster perfectly. Later that day at school, Rue runs into Cassie in the bathroom. Cassie asks her if she's relapsed, and Rue lies about it and says she has just smoked weed and that's it. This scene became kind of an iconic one because Cassie is wearing this kind of cottagecore-ish outfit. I actually watched the entire scene because the whole clip came up on my feed and that is fair game. It's actually Rue and Lexi that are in the bathroom. They're best friends and Cassie walks in. Rue, because she's on drugs and confused, she's like, are you auditioning for Lexi's play? Because Lexi has been covertly writing a play. I'm assuming in episodes 1 and 2, Lexi has been secretly writing a play where the main characters are Cassie, Maddie, Rue, just all of her close friends and family at school. Because Lexi is writing Cassie into the play, Rue, on drugs and not understanding that this is a secret, asks Cassie, are you gonna audition to play yourself, kind of thing. Cassie's like, no, what are you talking about? What play are you talking about? And Lexi tries to save it and say like, oh, Oklahoma, because the theater department's putting on Oklahoma. Are you auditioning for that? And Rue is like, she's very out of it in that moment. Cassie's like, no, and she starts getting really self-conscious because she was trying to dress cute to impress Nate. Now they think she's auditioning for Oklahoma. So then her other friends come in, Maddie and Kat. They get confused because they're like, so are you auditioning for Oklahoma? And Cassie's like, no, why is everyone asking me that? And Maddie's like, cause why do you look like that then? Rue is like, has everyone read Oklahoma about me? And Kat's like, Oklahoma's not a play you read. Also, a popular meme came out of this scene when Maddie responds to Cassie,
bitch, you better be joking.
I got confused because everyone on social media was talking about Joe King. And I was like, who the fuck is Joe King? Is this a new character on Euphoria? So Cassie has this big breakdown where she's like, I'm in love with Nate and I'm sleeping with him and I have never been happier, except she is screaming it and crying at the same time. I thought this whole part was real for the longest time until I looked it back up when I was researching. I know what clips I have seen on my timeline, so I'm just gonna revisit those clips. So I looked up that scene, and then right after she screams, Rue, who is the narrator of the show, says she should have said that, but that's not what she said. She just stood there quietly, weirdly, and left. This was kind of like an all a dream scene. Not all of it, just the part where she admits that she's been sleeping with Nate, because that's the big thing. That's why I was so confused about this scene, because it seemed like Cassie admitted to Maddie that she was sleeping with Nate, but then later in the season, Maddie gets really pissed when she finds that out. So I was like, this makes a lot more sense. That was like a hypothetical. But that really throws a wrench in my whole recap, because if this show is the type that just does fantasy sequences thrown in all over the place, then I could be really misled. After I accidentally saw what I shouldn't have seen, I stopped looking up clips to stop cheating, because that was kind of a accidental cheating moment. So episode 3 ends where Lexi is in her bedroom and having like a fake talk show in the middle of the night. A lot of people found this moment very relatable of Lexi. It's when I saw a lot of people being obsessed with her and feeling like they are her, like the person that's always been the side character becoming the main character in their own head, which I think people over dramatize it, but either way, Lexi became this relatable character who is sort of observing everyone around her and documenting it, but in a secret, private way that doesn't blow up till the end of the season. It was also after episode 3 that Dare decided to pick a fight with Euphoria and say that the show glamorizes teen drug use too much and that it was dangerous. People were pretty angry at Dare for saying this because Rue was already ruining aspects of her life due to her relapsing to drugs. Episode 4 is You Who Cannot See, Think of Those Who Can. In this episode, we get reminded that Cal is gay. Cal is Nate's dad. And for some reason, Cal is running around with the teens. He has business with Fez and Ashtray, the drug dealers. I assume that's where he gets his drugs. He might be also intertwined with Jules. In episode 4, Elliot, Jules, and Rue have a lot of intermingling. They go and steal alcohol and vandalize a convenience store. Elliot and Jules are drinking, but they don't want Rue to drink because she has addiction problems. At some point, Elliot gives oral sex to Rue, but later on, Elliot is hanging out with Jules romantically and they become official. Also, in real life, Dominic Fike and Hunter Schafer might be dating. After the oral sex and drinking, Elliot drops off Rue on the side of the road, which is messed up, because Rue was also drunk and high already at the time. Later in the episode, Rue finds Jules again and tells her that she can't stand her. She's really mad at Jules. Probably because Jules is hanging out with Elliot instead of her. Their love triangle is very confusing. I think they're all intertwined romantically. Maybe it's a whole throuple situation. But yeah, the only reason I found out about the oral sex part is because of this tweet that also has to do with Rihanna's pregnancy. Also, if you're wondering if Elliot dropped off Rue on the side of the road while drunk, he was drunk. Yes, everybody was drunk, and everyone drives very poorly in the Euphoria universe, as described by drag queen Kimchi. While Elliot, Jules, and Rue are canoodling and talking to each other and hating each other and getting drunk and high, the popular girls plus Lexi are at Maddie's birthday party. It's part regular house party, part hot tub party. It's at Cassie's house because she has a jacuzzi, I guess. Nate also shows up for the party. He and Maddie talk about potentially getting back together, but in the moment deciding not to. People partying outside. That's right. Nate gets Maddie a nice necklace for her birthday, and she has hope that they will get back together soon, but at this point she is calling it that they're not. Cassie tries to come down the stairs in a very sexy pink bathing suit number to look good for Nate. You see her here in the background trying to steal the spotlight. And later on, they all get into the jacuzzi together. Maddie and Nate are there, and Kat is there too. And then Cassie jumps in and is like, "What's up? Haha," trying to touch on Nate and stuff. I actually watched a TikTok recreation of this scene with brat stalls. So I got the little conversation that was at the jacuzzi. Cassie's like, "So are y'all getting back together?" And Maddie starts saying like, no, we're not. Nate is like, no, we're not together. And he's very definitive about it. And Maddie starts getting mad at Nate for saying it so definitively because of what they had talked about earlier. And Cassie is just staring at Nate, excited that he's saying they're not together. Cassie proceeds to get extremely drunk to the point where it's the only time I've seen Sydney Sweeney look ugly. This image became pretty viral on social media. She's just crying a lot. She's the definition of screaming, crying, throwing up. She has this nice moment of crying earlier in front of pretty flowers, but it gets ugly really fast. She also throws up inside the jacuzzi. Also at this party, we hear the bop that is How Long by Tove Lo. That song is amazing. She put her whole Tove Lo-cy into that song. I need to stop saying that. Oh, also in episode 4, Maddie proved to be a very decent friend to everybody, which was a big deal for her. Sometimes she can be a little bit of a bad bitch, a little cutthroat to people, but she was really nice. She comforted Kat, and she also was really grateful for Cassie's present to her. Episode 5, Stand Still Like a Hummingbird. The subtitle to this episode was making the rounds. It is Fate Has a Way of Catching Up to You. So even before episode 5 aired, people were already anticipating that it was the episode where Rue was going to face consequences for her relapsing on drugs. This episode was huge because it was sort of the big Emmy episode. Episode 5 was really focused on Rue and her addiction and her family and how she's affecting them. She kind of goes on this rampage of hurting every single person around her. Zendaya's performance for this was heavily praised. Everyone's screaming Emmy-worthy. When she relapsed, Rue had gotten drugs from this creepy lady, looks to be a school administrator. She borrows $10,000 worth of drugs from her and has no way of paying it back. Elliot, because he starts a romantic relationship with Jules, Elliot told Jules that Rue had relapsed. It was kind of Elliot and Rue's secret that they were doing drugs. Jules used the information that Elliot gave her against Rue and started the process of like intervening into her drug addiction and flushed the very expensive $10K worth of drugs into the toilet. This makes Rue spiral out of control in her household. She is saying really foul things to Jules, telling her like, you only loved being loved, and gets really mad, while Jules is very trying to be compassionate, sticking with the main message. Now Rue's mom knows, and Rue's little sister unfortunately is present there too and finds out about all the drug stuff, and they're chasing her around the house trying to get her to calm down. Rue has this big mental breakdown. There's one where she's on the floor with a Jolly Rancher and clearly very emotional. She says very horrible things to her mom, to her sister. She is manic. Zendaya in an interview said that she still has scars and bruises from filming this episode and that she really went all in, and it was very it was manic, like she was hitting stuff. After Rue destroys her mom's home and makes them like cry and break down too, she runs away and parkours onto the next one, goes and slaps Elliot for snitching on her to Jules. Rue ends up hiding away at Lexi's house, which is also Cassie's house. They start hosting an intervention for Rue, so Rue's mom is there, Lexi's mom is there, and Cassie and Maddie and all the popular girls are there too. Cassie is trying to help out Rue in a nice voice, and then Rue gets mad because Rue is just on a rampage. Like, she is ruining everyone. She tells Cassie,
How long have you been fucking Nate Jacobs?
how long have you been fucking Nate Jacobs? Cassie's like, her demeanor completely changes, and she goes from being sweet and nice to being very angry and crying and upset she got caught. Maddie hears this and is like, what? This whole clip is another one I had seen. It came across my timeline with a Disney Channel style laugh track edited onto it.
Really bad. You're fucking Nate? Are you kidding me?
Hilarious. Maddie goes like this. I only have one Maddie nail because this one broke, as you can tell. I'm literally about to get violent. She says something along those lines. She is ready to smack Cassie. Cassie's mom is trying to intervene because she's like, y'all, we're at an intervention for drugs. There's people that are dying, kind of thing. So this causes a pretty permanent rift, for the season for Cassie and Maddie and Maddie's friends, because all of Maddie's friends are shocked. Rue's mom takes her away and is like, we're done here, and the other girls are trying to fight. Maddie's trying to chase Cassie around, trying to hit her. Maddie and Cassie are officially enemies now. Episode 6 is called 1,000 Little Trees of Blood. Girl, the drama with these titles. Cassie had tried to defend herself about she started sleeping with Nate after Maddie and him broke up, but she broke girl code, you know. Now, because it's out in the open, Cassie gets the guy. All the friends are looking at her in a very disappointed way. And Cassie straight up moves in with Nate because these teens can just do that. It's funny because she is dressing like Maddie at this point. However, while Cassie's not around, Nate hangs out with Maddie a bit and actually abuses her. His mom is also there and she watches the whole thing go down, and she's actually proud of him for abusing Maddie. Nate had been abusive to Maddie in season 1, and it's kind of a big secret that she doesn't tell people. And his mom is unconcerned that he's violent. She thinks she deserved it. Some of these things I'm saying, I'm just saying it. I don't know if it's true. So I hope that's clear. So Lexi has been flirting with Fez this episode throughout the season, and she invites him to her play. He's very excited about it because he's very interested in her. This is the first time he's trying to get cleaned up for a girl, kind of, because he's a bad boy. He's a drug dealer. I don't think he even goes to the school. I think he's older. And also we see that Lexi has finalized the casting for her play. She has casted lookalikes for all of the characters. So she has a Cassie, she has a Maddie, she has a Kat, she has a Rue. I would think the casting would have been revealed way earlier. But anyway, so we have our cast. Also, Lexi tries to confront Cassie about how she's treated Maddie, and Lexi tells her, you fell in love with someone who's been making fun of you for years. It's sad. Lexi finally stands up to Cassie, and apparently, I guess Nate had been making fun of her for years. I mean, Cassie is a very pathetic character. She's a wannabe. She's the Gretchen Wieners to Maddie's Regina George. Even though in season 1, it sounds like she did have an abortion and was ice skating at the same time. Not at the same time, but there's a montage of her getting an abortion and ice skating. I don't know why that didn't come back around in season 2, because Cassie felt like a very petty, pathetic character rather than someone that had been through something that intense by age 17 or however old they are. In episode 6, Kat leaves Ethan, her boyfriend. Well, no, she doesn't leave him. She just has a very strange conversation with him where she doesn't want to be together but doesn't break up with him either, and he's very submissive to her, it seems like, and tells her like he's okay to be the one hurt. He doesn't care. This plotline for Kat was very confusing. People didn't know why she was suddenly not into Ethan anymore or why Ethan responded like this. And then finally in episode 6, Nate actually gave the tape to Jules. Don't ask me what the tape has. Don't ask me. I think it's something gay. Next we have episode 7, which is The Theater and Its Double. This episode focused a lot on the debut of Lexi's play, which we've been awaiting the whole season. Cassie and Nate are there together. Maddie is there with her girlfriends. Lexi's mom is very excited for this play. She's very proud of what Lexi has accomplished. We see the play unfurl, and at a certain point in the beginning, Maddie says, "Is this fucking play about us?" Because it's a big surprise. No one knew that this play was going to be about themselves, and basically airing out all the drama from this season in front of the entire school. Also, the budget for the play was astronomical. No theater department in the country could compare. It became a big meme. People wondering how she got this much budget to make a play about her friends. Just a lot of questions were raised. People didn't question the 30 penises in the episode 1, but they questioned the budget of this play. The whole episode is like the play basically, and Maddie is into it because she starts realizing that the play makes her look good because Cassie is being a doofus the whole time and a traitor. Nate starts getting really mad because he is also a character in the play and his dirty laundry is aired out as well. He was really pressed about how he was portrayed. He was upset he was portrayed singing and dancing in the locker room to holding out for a hero. And he is played by Ethan in the play, by the way. Ethan did a great job. People praised Ethan Logan's performance. Nate ends up walking out of the play. He can't take it anymore after holding out for a hero. He also breaks up with Cassie in that moment. It's like, we're done, we're over, and get out of my house, you're done. At intermission, Cassie goes to the bathroom and starts practicing how to smile through tears. It's a kind of a Joker moment. Rue and Jules, even though they're not on great terms, Rue is clean now and sobered up, so she is in a lot better place. Her and Jules are still rocky, but they're both finding humor in the play and just kind of like shocked at all the drama. Even though this play was traumatizing Cassie probably, Lexi's mom is living. She is the mom in Mean Girls, recording the whole thing. After Cassie is coming back from the bathroom where she was practicing smiling, she looks through the auditorium doors menacingly and breathes on the glass. Presumably she's plotting revenge on Lexi for making this awful play. Meanwhile, Fez is trying to get to the play and he's trying to look handsome for Lexi. He made her a whole card that was very cute, but there is some danger on the way for Fez. He is about to be caught for drug dealing. There's one girl, Faye, that knows. She knows that they're coming to get Fez and she needs to warn him, but she hasn't yet. After Nate walks out, he says this shit is so fucking homophobic. Maybe he's referring to the holding out for a hero number. Something is very homophobic and he's calling it out. And that's when he became an ally. I don't know how much that's going to persist. Finally, in the finale, we get the part 2 to the play saga. Episode 8 is called All My Life, My Heart Has Yearned for a Thing I Cannot Name. We pick up in the finale, still at the play, and Cassie runs up to interrupt it because the play is showing a scene where Cassie is on a carousel pretending the horse is Nate and she is having sex with it. I don't know if that's true. I'm assuming. Which this scene was in season 1 and or earlier in the season 2. Lexi was not a witness to this scene, so people were wondering how Lexi found out about this carousel private moment Cassie had. But this was the last straw for Cassie and she ran up to the stage and stopped the play. She interrupted the play to defend herself and it's like, Cassie didn't start having sex with Nate until Maddie and him were broken up. And that's when Maddie starts responding from the audience. They're arguing back and forth. Maddie says Cassie was fucking Nate, even though Maddie and him were talking about getting back together. One girl in the audience, which I related to so hard to this girl, she is my favorite character on Euphoria. She's just like, why? The way she said it, it was just so like, I related to my core. And then Maddie's like, because she's a fucking cunt. And then Cassie's like, I'm not a cunt, you're the cunt. And they're just calling each other cunt until Maddie just gets up and runs after her. Cassie's a little bitch, so she's all bark, no bite, and she screams and runs away. Maddie catches up to her though and slaps her ass. And this was a big moment of satisfaction for the season. Kat is saying, stop, don't hit her. The other friend, that I don't know her name, she's running like, no, beat her up. The friends are giving opposing advice. Maddie chases Cassie all the way down the hallway through and hits her and just beats her up a little bit, roughs her up, with everyone chasing after. I actually watched this clip. This is another one where the full scene was posted on my timeline. I did not go revisit it because I was scared to get more spoilers that I wasn't supposed to get, but I did watch this whole scene. That's why I know it in such detail. After the fight, things sort of calm down and Maddie and Cassie are sitting together in the bathroom, nursing their injuries. And it was clear that Maddie did not lose a single nail and does not have her hair messed up, while Cassie looks pretty beat up in the face and hair. In this talk in the bathroom afterwards, Cassie admits to Maddie that Nate had already broken up with her before she even went on stage. And Maddie, in a very ominous way, says, don't worry. This is just the beginning. We can guess she's referring to how Nate is abusive and horrible and always doing this on and off thing that is very toxic. You see Cassie's reaction just be one of shock. And it's just like the amount of effort and fighting these girls are going to for this guy, this useless ass Logan Paul looking guy. Like, please. I was so tired of hearing about Nate Jacobs. We need Jennifer's body on his ass. She could end Nate Jacobs. So that was the culmination of the Maddie and Cassie beef this season. People were kind of dissatisfied about the final conversation because it felt very like Maddie beat her up, but then we're just good now. People thought it was a little anticlimactic. Otherwise, A big part of the episode was taken up by Elliot singing. I got that clear from social media. There was about a 3-minute segment of Elliot singing a song to Rue later after the play, and people were upset. So upset that Dominic Fike, who plays Elliot, put out an Instagram story saying he was humbled by the internet. So many things were left unanswered by the season that wasting a bunch of time on this random guy's song was not what people wanted. And then on the other side of things, Fez actually never makes it to Lexi's show, much to the dismay of Fexy shippers. Faye actually comes in and warns him about him getting attacked, and she shows a lot of loyalty to him, but they still come and raid his home. His grandma's house is where he lives, and so Fez is there and Ashtray's there too, because they're brothers, probably. The feds come to bust the drugs. They shoot up the whole house. It's like, they could have just arrested him, but okay, they're shooting everywhere. Shots. Fez pretends to be dead to get them to not shoot him, and then Ashtray distracts them and ends up getting shot. Ashtray is likely dead. We don't know for 100% fact. And Fez is either dead or in jail by the end of this episode. Do we know, or do I not know? That I don't know. But Fez's fate is more of a mystery than Ashtray. Rip Ashtray was kind of trending, which was really sad because he was really young. Also, the grandma never wakes up, even though her house was shot up by machine guns, though she's not dead. Also, Cal gets freaked out because his drug dealers are getting shot by the government. He is like, where am I going to get my drugs now? So he's upset. He is facing consequences. And so to decompress, he goes and hangs out with some gays, some drag queens, and he is starting to accept his sexuality more. He goes and has a kiki. In the narration to the final minutes of this episode, we learn that Rue has stayed sober for the rest of the year. That narration doesn't answer many of the questions left, so there are some cliffhanger things like Ashtray's fate, Fez's fate, and maybe what Cal was doing at the gay bar. Also, why Elliot had to sing a whole song. So that was my Euphoria recap. Tell me, how did I do? I think I got it pretty freaking good. I put a lot of effort into this board, as horribly ugly as it looks. Please let me know in the comments below if you're a Euphoria fan and why. What is your favorite thing about it? Is it the production? Is it the plot? Is it certain characters? I would love to hear about it in the comments below. I tried my best to do some sort of Euphoria makeup, but I ended up just putting glitter everywhere, so I couldn't do it. Let me know what I got right, or if you haven't seen Euphoria, if you've seen a lot of this stuff on your timelines too, I would love to hear about it. I hope you enjoyed this more funsy video. I had so much FOMO about this show that I wanted to be part of it at least a little bit. I am glad kind of it's over. I'm so sorry to you, sorry to this man, but I am glad Euphoria is over with because it was a lot. But I am glad y'all had something to bond over. I'm sad that I missed out on it, but I usually miss out on these types of things. No hate here. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. I put out new videos twice a week about TV, pop culture, internet trends, and other miscellaneous things. And you can follow me at Miscellaneous on Instagram or Twitter to find out about videos, or just turn on the bell notification here on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.